Hello, everyone. Welcome to Embodied Prosperity. This is a retreat designed for women entrepreneurs, for visionaries, leaders, healers, coaches, transformational facilitators, and anyone who is seeking to embody that natural state of prosperity in all facets of business and life. The potent conversations held within this sacred container will act as a portal, inspiring new ways of shifting your awareness and elevating your inner frequency so that you can attract the abundance that is your birthright and the abundance that you already are. So today's guest is someone who is so near and dear to my heart. I have known her for probably over 5 or 6 years, and for a good part of that time, she's been a tremendous guide, mentor, and teacher for me. And she's actually the one who taught me how to create my first online event some years ago. And her work that is just so critical to assisting in this tidal wave that we need to heal humanity, to heal Mama Earth. It resonates with me so deeply. And I'm sure that she and I have been in past lifetimes together, perhaps as priestesses. And I'm just so grateful we connected again in this lifetime. And her name is Jocelyn Starfeather. Welcome, Jocelyn.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you. It is just such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you and part of your amazing event.
Oh, such an honor to have you. So let's read a little bit about Jocelyn. Jocelyn Starfeather is a visibility and thought leadership coach, spiritual alchemist, and founder of Sacred Planet. She shares shamanic and alchemical wisdom to guide courageous seekers in how we can co-create a revolutionary new world in alignment with Mother Earth and the vast intelligence of the cosmos. After a successful 15-year corporate career working in finance for major multinational companies, Jocelyn was thrust into a deep spiritual awakening. It was that awakening which turned her life upside down and from which she emerged with a powerful understanding of how to use her intuition and healing abilities, aspects of herself that she'd never had access to before. She dove deeply into earth-based and shamanic practices, and she has studied alongside elders and wisdom keepers ever since. And today she coaches and guides visionaries, revolutionaries, and changemakers all around the world, guiding them to break free from everything that has held them back so they can joyfully offer their highest contribution to our collective future. So powerful. One of Jocelyn's favorite aspects of her work is guiding soul-led entrepreneurs to bring their important mission and message out to a global audience through creating their first online conference or summit. Yes, yes, yes. So Jocelyn, today your talk title is Alchemy, the Heart Chakra, and Venus, align with the cosmic forces to cultivate interdimensional prosperity. And I'm so excited to dive in. I did want to begin, if possible, I would love to hear a little more about that moment that we mentioned in your bio, where you began to access these aspects of yourself that you didn't have access to prior, your intuition, your healing abilities. And, I feel like these turning points are often, they're moments of grace, but they can also feel like deep initiations for the most part. And I'm sure all of us have gone through many of them, but I just feel like they're so fascinating. And I know that a lot of our participants of this retreat can probably relate to turning points like this in our lives, where we kind of really step into our power, into our authenticity, into our truth. And so, yeah, and maybe it will even lead into where we're going with our topic today about, the frequency of the heart chakra and interdimensional prosperity and all of that. So yes, I would love for you to begin there, if you will.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kate, so much for a beautiful introduction. And again, it's just an honor to be here. I'm so excited to share all of this with you today and with your audience. And yes, I mean, we are just, if we look at the astrology, if we look at the cosmic energies right now, we are all being called to make massive transformations in our lives right now. It's like wherever we have been up till now, we're being called to take a huge leap to the next level. And so I think everybody is feeling this, and we are having more moments of realizing everything's changing, right? It's like happening more and more rapidly at an accelerated pace. So it's just fascinating. So my story of my original awakening, because I feel like I've had multiple awakenings now at this point. The original one was, so all of this happened. It was kind of circling around the year 2010, because 2010 was the year that my daughter was born, my first daughter, Sophia, wisdom. And so at that time, and up until that time, I had been working in corporate. I was 32 years old at that time. And I had always just lived a very logical, rational life that made sense. And I followed what everybody said I should do. And I went to school and I got my bachelor's degree. I got my master's degree. I got a good job in finance. I was working for Mercedes-Benz and had an awesome car because it came with the job. And, all these things that are like, symbols of you're doing well in life. And I was married and we were starting to have our children. And when Sophia was born, I just remember holding her when she was only a couple days old and looking down at her beautiful little tiny face and just thinking, what have I been doing with my life?
Mm.
It was like all of a sudden it just clicked into my knowing that everything I'd been doing, as far as like all the energy I'd been putting toward my career and this, my goals and my aspirations financially and purpose wise, were completely out of alignment with my soul. And that really just took the floor out from under me. I managed to be a good mom to her and keep doing my job, but I felt like I was living in survival mode every day. I really went into a complete black night of the soul. And stayed there for about a year and a half. I remember at one point when she was about a year and a half, and I felt like all of a sudden I came out from under some kind of a cloud, and I could like see light again. And that
Wow.
was very intense. And during that time, I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing instead of this job and this life. But I knew it had to be something different because it just everything felt so wrong. And what I started doing during that time, the dark night of the soul time, was, I was looking for the answers to questions like, why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing while we're here? And what happens to us after we die? And or before we're born. And so I just started reading books on every different world religion and spiritual tradition that I could get my hands on, because I thought, well, the answers have to be somewhere in here. And what really stood out to me and started to bring me back into the light was indigenous wisdom and shamanic wisdom. And
Mm.
I had been raised Catholic. So I had been raised, very religious, you got to follow the rules. You have to, observe these particular dates and go to confession and, all that stuff.
Wow.
And when I started doing a regular shamanic journeying practice, this was when all the magic all of a sudden started to come in. And so I found this book that was by Elida Birch. I highly recommend this to everyone if you're at this kind of point on your journey. And it's called the Co-Creation Handbook. And it's a book that will take you on an 8-week journey to learn shamanic journeying, which is when we listen to a drum beat and just allow ourselves to go into a visionary space. It's a form of meditation, but it just takes us into a theta brainwave state. Actually, the drum beat takes our brain into the theta state where we go into a really visionary space. And it's also an 8-week journey into discovering your life's purpose. Okay, so I did this book, and when I started that shamanic journeying practice, a few things happened. One was the trees started talking to me. And this was something that I had never had an experience of like a plant or animal actually talking to me, right, at that point. And I would be packing lunch for me to go to work and for my daughter to go to daycare in the mornings. And I would be looking out my kitchen window, and there were these beautiful, really tall pine trees out there. And they would sway in the wind, and I could hear them saying to me, don't go sit under those fluorescent lights all day. Stay here. Come out here with us. And I was like, what is happening? Am I losing my mind? Right? All of these thoughts. And every day they were just so calmly telling me the same thing. And then, but I still had to keep my job because I still didn't know what I was doing next, and I had to pay the mortgage and everything. And then at a certain point, I started getting visions of a particular landscape. Okay, and this was the really fascinating moment that really shifted me into the magic. So I'll tell about this, and then we can go into the next aspects of my presentation. So I would always be, for a certain period of time, like months and months, maybe 6 months of my shamanic journey and practice, rather than just going into a meditation or seeing different things, it was, my guide was a white horse, and it would take me to this same place every single journey. And I was standing in this valley. I had just walked out of a pine forest. I was standing in a valley. There was water running in front of me, and off in the distance was this beautiful snow-capped mountain, and there were these scraggly, like, kind of little small trees all around me. And they would just leave me there, and I would stand there and stare up at this mountain. And it happened so many times that excuse me, I actually kind of started getting a little bored, and I was like, what are we doing here? What is happening? There's nothing happening. I'm just staring at a mountain. And then a voice came in and said, you need to go to New Mexico. Now, at that point, I had started blogging for the Pachamama Alliance. I had started doing volunteer blogging work for the Pachamama Alliance. And there was a chance to go to New Mexico with Pat McCabe, Woman Stand Shining. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to listen to this, right? And so this is important, because when we start to open to the magic and we start to say yes to new things and new opportunities coming in, even if they don't make any sense in the context of what we've done so far, like, my daughter was very small, didn't make any sense for me to leave. Okay. But I knew I had to go. So I went to New Mexico, and that was the most magical experience. And what happened was, so you fly into Albuquerque and you drive up to Taos. And as we were driving into Taos, you come around this bend where the Sangre de Cristo Mountains appear in the view. And we came around this bend, and I looked and I realized this was the mountain in my journeys. And this mountain had called me there. And the realization of this just sunk into me on a very deep soul level. And this even went so far as, I think it was the second to last day that I was there with Pat McCabe and with our group, we drove over the mountains to the other side, and we were looking back from the other side. We were in this valley, and I was standing in a place where I was in a valley, and there was a pine forest behind me, and there were these scraggly little trees all around me, and there was water over here, and there was the mountain. It was exactly like, I took so many photographs because it was exactly what I had seen in my vision. So from that moment on, I knew I could quit my job and be okay. I knew that I was supported and protected by magic. And we all are. But it was like my rational mind needed that level of proof that these other forces are communicating with us. And from there, I started my business. I started Sacred Planet. I had my first summit, my first conference, and everything that has happened has been so powerful and not always easy. There have been more dark nights of the soul. There have been many more awakening moments, right? And we need to trust at a level that we've never trusted before. And that's what I was able to do from that experience. So pause there.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I know this story from you, but it's just every time you say it and speak it, it's unreal, and it does prove that magic is real, and we are made of that magic.
Yes.
And, just like the trees were talking to you and the mountain wanted you there, we have that same aliveness within us. And as long as we can trust that beauty, that magic, be unshakable in our faith in that, we will be okay and we will thrive. Yeah, so Jocelyn, let's get into this amazing talk you have for us. Would you want to start with speaking to us about the frequency of the heart chakra and why it's so important for us to develop this profound understanding of our signature and energetic signature within our heart chakra?
Yes, I would love to. And I would love to share some slides that I've created around this that I think will just be helpful for everybody to fully let it sink in.
Yeah,
So I will go
please
ahead and
do.
share my screen here. Okay. So I'm going to start with this question and we'll go to the why the heart chakra. Because I think this is the best way to explain how all the pieces here fit together. So this idea of interdimensional prosperity is something that I've been working with lately, and that has been coming through really strongly because prosperity can not only be about financial success and wealth, right? That's something that we focus on, and sometimes it seems maybe like that's the hardest part to achieve. But prosperity must go far beyond our finances
Mm,
because financial success alone is not fulfilling, right? We need to do work that lifts us up with joy and fulfillment and like knowing that we are operating in our highest contribution with what we do. And we need the family and friends who love us and accept us and appreciate us for all that we truly are. We need to be healthy. We need to have access to nature and healthy food and travel if that's like part of our soul longing. And we need to have an active dream life and really experience the multidimensionality of who we are and cultivate our plans and visions for the future. And there's so much more. And each one of you listening, really, I invite you to just think about what is it for you that you most deeply, deeply need. Okay. Because if we only open ourselves to financial success and wealth, we're really not fully opening the channel to receive all that we need. And we want to be aware of that. So we open all the channels for what the universe can send us. And so when we begin to tap into this, and we're going to really work with this today, we will find that miracles and synchronicities begin to arrive that we never expected, that we never imagined, that really bring us into all that we're meant to receive. And we just get into this beautiful flow. You know, we hear people talk about flow state, and this is what it is, where we're aligned with the energies and we can fully receive. Now, astrology, which we're going to talk about more later, is so important for this because astrology is predictive. Okay. It's like a predictive magical science. And it helps us to see what are the challenges coming up, what are the opportunities coming up. So we can adjust and align with those and actually utilize them and work with them to receive their highest gifts and benefits rather than being knocked over by them. And the world events right now and the astrological energy right now, what we're all experiencing in our own lives, are so intense at this time. So we can easily feel like we're being just knocked over by it, like overwhelmed by all of it. But the more we step into an understanding of, oh, this is Mars energy. Like this is really aggressive. This is why people are confronting me today. Oh, I understand. So I can take a step back and come from a more peaceful space. And maybe I can even use that aggressive energy for good, like to take a new action step forward. Right. And that's just a very, very surface level example of how we can work with that, but it's so powerful. So then this brings us to the heart chakra. Why is the heart chakra important for cultivating interdimensional prosperity? Well, it's important to understand that we are like tuning forks. One of my teachers, Arkan Lashwala, he would say, put on your antennas, put up your antennas and pick up the information that's coming in, right? Because we're constantly picking up on the energy, the information, everything that's happening around us. And these are really vibrational frequencies. And we know that there are very high vibrational frequencies, love being at the very, very highest. And that's what the heart chakra is love. And then things like fear and trauma and guilt and doubt, these are very low frequency energies. And we have tremendous power to choose which energies from around us we want to allow in or not, and also which energies we want to cultivate and amplify within ourselves. And sometimes, like with all of this, be very patient with yourselves, because some days it feels like we don't have the power to choose. Some days it feels like things are coming in and we can't control it. It's hard to work with. But other days we can get into the flow, right? So be very patient with yourself as you're working with all of this. There will always be easier times and not so easy times, but we want to just work on it and get more and more comfortable, more and more familiar with really tuning into the highest frequencies. Because when we do that, it opens up the channels for the universe to send us everything we most deeply need, everything we most deeply long for. And so the frequency of the heart chakra is love and oneness. And it is so powerful. Love is so much stronger than fear. Love is so much stronger than doubt. So we can really tune into this and cultivate it in a very powerful way. Now, I'm going to tell you more about the heart chakra, but then it's also important to bring in alchemy here. So I will share with you just a few principles from alchemy. When we work with alchemy, we open ourselves up to transformation beyond what we could possibly imagine. And one way to think of this is that we have certain things that we know, like, okay, I need this or I want that. And we can set intentions for that. And we can do rituals around it, and we can write and journal about it and do all these beautiful things. But there's another way to work with this, which is to open up to the universe. This is kind of like, in a Christian sense, it's like giving it over to God, right? We can give it over to the universe because the universe actually has in store for us a much bigger plan than we can even imagine. And so this alchemical prayer is really beautiful to say, to open you up to possibilities that you haven't even thought of yet. Okay. And it is, dear universe, please send me all of the things that I need the most that I do not even yet know are possible. And I really strongly recommend just saying this 3 times a day. Just this alone will change everything for you.
Mhm.
It's so powerful. It opens us up to this much higher level that the universe wants for us. And so, this is because we are all like a work of art within a larger story. And that larger story is the mythology of the earth and cosmos, right? And we are a part of the sacred awakening journey of the earth herself. And we are, as I learned, in those moments when I went to Taos, New Mexico, and realized this mountain had called me there, we are guided, supported, and protected beyond what we can possibly comprehend with our human understanding. And this next part is really important. The universe is devoted to your sacred awakening and your sacred success in carrying out your highest mission. The universe is devoted to you. I mean, this is the reason that you're here in a body, right? In this lifetime, living in this magic that we get to live in every day. Because when you're giving your highest contribution to the world, it is truly for the highest good of everyone. And most importantly, at least from the universe's point of view, it's for the highest good of life itself. When we step into our highest purpose, it is always going to be in sacred service to life in some way, right? Whether you're a teacher or a healer or an artist, or name any like true calling that you would step into with deep integrity. Okay, you are going to be improving the lives of people or animals or plants or the earth, and all of those are life itself. So we are supported beyond all our imaginings in carrying out our highest mission. So alchemy is about opening to that highest level, which is meant to come to us, which we probably don't even know about yet, right? Really like opening ourselves up to receive that. And in order to do that, we must let go of logic and rational ways of perceiving. And this is what I was learning in the very hard way during that dark night of the soul. I had lived my whole life based on logic and rational thought and like what you should do and what makes sense to do. And especially at this time, we are finding out that these ideas of logic and rational thinking are very limited. And if we subscribe to those, they're going to create unnecessary obstacles that will block us. So we need to open up to all that is, right? We need to open up to the much larger field of possibilities. That, and our heart is one way to tap into that. Okay. Our womb space is another that we're not going to talk about today, but you may be talking about this, Kate, or others maybe. And of course, our intuition, right? And then we begin to make decisions on an interdimensional level, not just 3D. So this is the goal of alchemy. It's turning lead, like the heavy, dense 3D aspects of our existence, into gold, which is the vast opening to all possibilities. And once we begin to work with this, we really can step into trust, exactly what you were saying earlier, Kate, at this much deeper level than we ever knew possible. Because we start getting proof of magic. And we can even do this, like this is a wonderful journaling exercise for everybody listening. Start writing down the proof of magic in your life. And once you start writing, I think you'll find way more than you would have expected. Like all the synchronicities, just the magical beauty of a sunset, even is one, and opportunities that came in and people that came in that just changed your life. Now, the sacred instructions is an important part of this, okay? The sacred instructions is when the universe is speaking to us, like those trees were speaking to me, or like the mountain was speaking to me and saying, you need to go to New Mexico. That made absolutely no sense in the context of my entire life. So we have to realize that sometimes the sacred instructions are going to ask us to do things that other people will think are crazy. Ask us to do things that make no sense in the context of our life. And then when we have the courage to say yes to those instructions, we really step into a magical space. So this is the invitation. So I'm going to share just a little bit more about the heart chakra, and then we can look at some other pieces. So how can we cultivate a profound relationship and expanded communication with our heart chakra? And really, this is what's going to lead us to that interdimensional prosperity. So the heart chakra is the frequency of love and trust and oneness. And what's so fascinating is that even science now is backing this up. Now, the ancient and indigenous peoples always knew that the heart was actually the part of the body that was most important to pay attention to, not the brain. The brain was secondary. The brain processes what the heart already knows. Mm-hmm. And many different indigenous traditions will tell you that the heart is connected. It's the central chakra, okay? It's the central point in the body. So it's connecting both the above and the below. So it is connected to, and you can picture it like tendrils or antennas coming out of the heart that are constantly receiving the information from the cosmos, right? The divine intelligence, and also constantly receiving the knowings and the wisdom of the earth below. And they're discovering this now with science. So it was a study by the Heart Math research team. And they said there is compelling evidence to suggest that the physical heart is coupled to a field of imagination too, but a field of information that is not bound by the classical limits of time and space. Right? So really let that sink in. I mean, this is interdimensional and multidimensional. That's what our heart is. I'll tell this story really briefly. There was a little bird. This is the bird that was injured in the road. And I was driving down the road, and this poor little bird was just standing in shock in the middle of the road and couldn't move. And I got out of my car and I walked up to it, and it couldn't, like, it didn't even register fear, or it didn't know to like move away from me. And so I gathered up this bird, and I had a little towel, and I held it to my heart. And I just held it. And it was bleeding. The other wing was bleeding a little, and it had blood coming out of the nose. And I was like thinking it wasn't going to make it. And I was starting to make calls to vets and humane societies and things. And then all of a sudden it started like perking up and started moving around. And I was sitting in my car at the time, as you can see. And this was after about 20, 25 minutes. I was holding it to my heart. It hopped up on my shoulder. Then it hopped up to the seatbelt. As you see here, I rolled down this window, and he stayed there just long enough for me to take this picture before he flew up and out over above the trees. And I learned, 2 different people told me after this, when I shared the story with them, with small animals, if they're injured, you hold them to your heart and it restores their life force energy. How beautiful is that? I had never heard that before. And it was my instinct, right? We know these things. It was my instinct just to hold it to my heart. I didn't know what else to do for it, but I knew I had to hold it to my heart. How beautiful. Like this beautiful, it's life itself. This was 2 days after I got back from Egypt. And it was so powerful. So here's just a little bit of the Egyptian influence as well. It's so fascinating in the hieroglyphs. And of course, we know the ancient Egyptians had this profound knowledge of the true basis of reality. They had such a profound understanding of like the principles and the mechanics of life and death. And they knew how to work with both of these so powerfully that they could, they were doing these resurrection rituals where the high priests and priestesses or the pharaohs would die, and then they would bring them back. And that's what's written in the pyramid text, was the magical spells to do this work. So they had such a deep understanding of life. And what we see in the hieroglyphs, I mean, these are just a few. You see this everywhere, okay? Every temple you go into, there are these expressions of care and love. Everywhere you look, they are giving each other gifts, like giving a necklace here, giving the Ankh, which is the gift of life and immortal life, putting their hands around each other's shoulders, right? This is Isis in the middle here, standing behind Osiris, putting her hands on his shoulders, supporting him. Down here, she's putting her wings around him. There are many images where it looks like they're giving Reiki to each other. And so this idea of love being the foundation and absolutely essential to all life, right? This is the heart chakra. Now, the toroidal field is this donut-shaped electromagnetic field of the heart. And so we all have this energy circulating around us, and it moves. So it's coming out of the center and going around and back in constantly. And it has been measured. And we know that the human heart generates the strongest electromagnetic current of any part of the human body. And the field of the heart is 50 times stronger than that of the brain. So this is our life force. And this is the strongest energy current in our body. So when we connect in with this, we are connecting in with this multidimensional, energetic, highest frequency nature of ourselves. Now, every living thing has this. Everything with a heart has this field around it. There are images in space taken from space that show this field around the earth. And so, of course, the field of our heart is connected in with the field of her heart. The field of my heart connected with the field of that bird's heart when I was holding it. When we hug each other, when we hold our children or our loved ones or our pets close to us, these fields are connecting with each other. And it is this field that is continuously picking up the divine intelligence, the information about that bigger picture, the larger web that we're all a part of. I mean, it is a web, you know, this is a part of us that is the web that's woven in with the larger web of creation and the sacred geometry of creation. And so through our heart, we truly can receive everything we need to find out our purpose, and then to deepen in and evolve more and more fully into carrying out that purpose, and how to bring forward our highest contribution that will help so many people, or help the earth, or help the plants and animals, right? So this is incredibly key to who we really are. And this is just a beautiful image that I thought also shows all the chakras, and it also gives you a sense of that toroidal field around us. So I will pause there with the presentation and come back to you here, Kate.
Wow. I'm just so touched by this toroidal feel around the heart, and just the story with the bird. It made me think of when I was in college. I was going through a really tough time, probably one of those darker initiations that we were talking about. And I had recently gotten a new little puppy, and I just knew, I sensed intuitively, like, to get through this time, I need a little being with me. I need an animal to be along my side. And I would always bring her up to my chest, and she would just lay there and sleep there. And I was healing. She was healing me. I felt like she literally, like, mended my heart through that time. And it was so powerful.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So just you talking about the power of the heart is really, really powerful. So let's talk even more about this beauty of the world, the magic that I love. This is your gift, Jocelyn, is like showing us the magic that's possible, and giving us, the ability to trust the world, and just the beauty and the love and the trust and the oneness, like those higher frequencies that we're seeking as we seek to embody prosperity. Like, you teach us exactly how to do that, and I love that about you. So thank you for your wisdom here. So let's go deeper in. Maybe you want to talk about do you want to talk about Venus, and how she's related to prosperity and the astrology that's coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Venus is the planet which in alchemy is connected to the heart chakra. Every one of our 7 main chakras in alchemy corresponds to one of the 7 traditional planets. So that's the sun and moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And so Venus corresponds to the heart chakra. Now, Venus in astrology represents love and beauty and relationships, right? So we know how that connects to the heart chakra, of course. But she also represents abundance and blessings. And she's very connected to the sign of Taurus, which is about our ability to be fully present to life, okay, to this 3D reality, but also just welcome in all the blessings, the joy, to be in pleasure, right? Every moment, to really receive all that life has to offer, to fully enjoy an incredibly beautiful sunset. right? Or to be with our partner, with our lover, and to be fully present in that moment together, fully immersed, right? Or to hold our child or our pet or a tiny bird, close to our heart and feel the joy of that, the connection of that, the love of that. And that's not all. She also represents how we value ourselves, which is really fascinating. Okay, because we are taught all our lives various versions of how we're not enough, right? Or we're too much, one or the other. But we tend to come through life with these limiting beliefs, which are given to us at the very beginning by maybe our parents or other authority figures or our teachers in school or our experiences with our peers, where we were told that we were not enough. And this is one of the key, probably the key wounding that keeps us from being able to receive abundance. So Venus and the heart chakra call us to fully value ourselves and to really sink into a trust and a belief that we are magic, that all of this magic I've been talking about, that is what we are as well, because we cannot be separate from it, right? And all of the forces of creation in the universe, the forces that birthed galaxies and formed planets and formed life, that is all in us, in every cell of our being, in every part of our energetic field. We're made of the same stuff, right? So Venus asks us to value ourselves in that way. And I'll give one more little metaphor here that might be helpful too. If you look at a tree or you look at a bird, right? These beautiful aspects of nature, they're not perfect. I'm looking at these trees out my window. They all have their flaws, we would say if we were judging them the way we judge ourselves. But they are perfect. They are perfectly designed to be exactly what they're meant to be. And we are too. And our flaws, what we consider flaws, or the parts of ourselves that we have deemed imperfect, are actually perfectly, perfectly designed for us to step into the fullest version of our mission. So Venus asks us to see ourselves in the light of all the magic that we are, to fully value all of our strengths, all of our weaknesses, and to know that all of that together makes us perfectly designed to do what we're here to do.
I love it so much.
So it's really powerful to connect in with this energy. And there is a mantra that we can say to Venus. This is in Sanskrit, and it's just asking her to send us all of her Venusian blessings, which includes wealth and all forms of abundance. Okay. And that is Om Kleem. Hold on, let me make sure I get this right. Yes, Om Kleem Shum Shukraya Nama. Now, Venus's name in Sanskrit is Shukraya. So Om Kleem Shum Shukraya Nama. And Friday is Venus's day. So I would strongly recommend chanting this on Fridays as part of your meditation, or every day if you would like. And just imagine the beautiful planet Venus, the goddess Venus, with all of her abundance, just showering you with blessings, right? As you say this mantra.
Mm.
And yes, so as far as the astrology now, we've talked a little bit about Venus and what she means, and these are her meanings in your astrology chart. The cosmic energies at this time are so intense. We are being catalyzed. We are being transformed on all levels at once, with not a lot of time to take a breather right now. Like everything is just so accelerated and moving at a rapid pace. So we can work with Venus And especially now and during your event airing, Kate, Venus is going to be in her sign of exaltation, which is Pisces. So when we tap into her energies, it will be beautifully flowing. And there are no, in Pisces, Mars has not arrived there yet. Saturn has not arrived there yet. It's just Venus and Jupiter and Neptune that will be in Pisces during this week of your conference. And so what an amazing time to connect in with her and really find peace and calm and trust and love in the center of all that's swirling in our world.
Mm, so beautiful. We'll definitely be doing that. And I think that even just all the activations within this retreat are going to bring us into her field, and she's going to be so happy to be working with us and
Yes.
doting upon us and showering us with those blessings. So yes, 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 to Venus, let's work with her more. Wonderful, Jocelyn. So did you want to conclude with anything else about interdimensional prosperity with the cosmic forces, or are you feeling complete there?
Yes. Well, I know we've been recording for a while. I can share a shamanic journey here, or if we're out of time, I could record it later and send it to you. So you can let me know. But I have a shamanic journey I'd love to share to help people really connect in with
Yeah, I would love that.
emotional prosperity.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Well, let me put up a beautiful image here. Um, on the screen so you can get comfortable wherever you are, and know that for this shamanic journey you can be laying down, you can be sitting up with your spine straight, you could even be moving about if you want to let it be a movement journey. And if it's okay with you, Kate, I'll turn off our video. I'll turn off my video and we could both turn off our videos. And everybody, you can close your eyes or you can just gaze at this beautiful image of the Milky Way over the ocean. And so I invite you to place one or both hands on your heart and just start taking some really deep, deep and cleansing breaths into your heart chakra, the very center of your chest. And with every in-breath, really become aware that you are breathing in the magic of the sunlight and the oxygen and all the magic that surrounds you. And then with every out breath, really become aware of just releasing anything you no longer need. Any thoughts, any worries, just let them go, and relaxing, letting go of any tension, and allow yourself to come into a deep, deep connection with your heart chakra. Now, the heart chakra is the central chakra of our primary 7 chakras. There are 3 other chakras above it, which are connected to the cosmos, the great above. And there are 3 chakras below the heart, which are connected with the earth or the great below. And the heart has lines of communication to both the great above and the great below, and is continually receiving information from the divine intelligence of the earth and cosmos. So really just begin to sense into this aspect of your heart. It is very multidimensional, very interdimensional. And just allow yourself to have the feeling of receiving intelligence and wisdom and knowing and healing from both the above and the below. Now, you will not receive this in a way that you can put into words or put into a thought form, because that's all based in the mind. What we're doing here is perceiving through the heart. So just notice how it feels to receive wisdom and healing and abundance into your heart without even understanding it fully, without putting any words to it. Just allow yourself to receive. And now, if you feel ready, we will say the alchemical prayer together, and I'll guide you in that. And when you say the alchemical prayer, really open your heart wider and allow yourself to begin receiving the much higher level of blessings and abundance of all forms that the universe truly has been wishing to send you. So just repeat after me as we say the alchemical prayer together. Dear universe, please send me all of the things that I need the most, that I do not even yet know are possible. And then just sit with this and allow all of these highest levels of abundance to begin flowing into you from the above and from the below. You may see them as streams of light or color or energy. You may feel your toroidal field expanding to let more and more abundance in. Really open up to whatever it is that you feel. And now tune into your heart, still keeping it open, still continuing to allow this flow of abundance and blessings into you. But tune into your heart, and you can always ask your heart any questions that you would like. So go ahead now and ask your heart, what is one thing I can do today to begin really allowing this full flow of abundance into my life in very real and perceivable ways? Just ask your heart and then listen in carefully. And you can also call upon Venus anytime that you like by using the mantra that I shared. Let's just connect in with her now. And go ahead and ask Venus any question that is rising up in your heart. And then just listen to hear her answer. Once she shares her answer, Venus is going to turn to you and give you a gift. She's going to place a beautiful gift in your hand. And just notice what this gift is. Take note of what deeper meaning it might hold for you. And you can ask Venus a question about it if you would like. And then place this gift in your heart. This gift is a key and a clue to your highest contribution that you're meant to offer, which will bring you into even more profound levels of abundance in your life. So thank Venus, send gratitude to her, and thank your heart, sending gratitude to your heart chakra. And begin returning to your breath now, taking those deep breaths in, receiving all the magic, the sunlight, the oxygen that is around you. And deep breaths out, releasing, relaxing, and integrating what you've seen here today. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And I do recommend taking a journal and writing down whatever feels most important from that journey.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So many things came through for me, and I just wanted to share with everyone that Venus reminded me that during I took a retreat when I was bleeding right over my birthday last year. And I remember from the room I was in, I could see Venus because I have that app where you can see the planets, and I could see Venus from my window. And I just felt like this strong connection. I felt like she was guiding me. And I knew that she was sending me some information, but I didn't know what it was. And now looking back, I realized that was the moment that this retreat, the idea for this retreat was seeded. So she was guiding this whole thing. She's been guiding it from start to finish. And her gift to me was this ball of fire just now, which symbolizes her, like her guiding me. And she said, as you honor and remember me, you honor and remember yourself. And so I'm just
Wow,
I
that's so
feel
powerful.
yeah, I just feel so blessed with the gifts that you've shared today, and this journey that you've brought us on. I'm sure all of our participants have received really incredible messages as well. And yeah, thank you so much for touching us so deeply and sharing with us your gifts. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Absolutely. It's been such a pleasure to share with you. Thank you so much for receiving it. And I just wish everybody listening highest abundance and interdimensional prosperity on all levels of your being.
Aho, yes to that. Many blessings. Have a beautiful day, everyone.